Welcome back to Healthier Daily. I'm Dr. Ben Carter. We're taught that a daily walk is the purest form of medicine, and it is. But what if I told you that this simple, trusted habit could also be a trap late in broad daylight? What if every step you take, filled with good intentions, is quietly loading a gun aimed directly at your brain set to go off in the dead of night while you sleep? This isn't about a sudden chest pain or dizziness. This is about silence. You finish your walk, feel perfectly fine, eat dinner, go to bed, and you don't wake up the same. Or perhaps you don't wake up at all. A family member finds you. Your speech slurred, one side of your body lifeless, your world shattered overnight. The cause, not a lifetime of smoking, not a diet of fried foods. The cause was the walk you took just hours before. You might be thinking, that won't happen to me. I'm active. And that is precisely the thought that makes you vulnerable. Because this isn't about if you walk, it's about how you walk. Today we expose how the wrong walking habits turn this trusted medicine into a silent poison. But we are not here to leave you in fear. We are here to give you control. We are going to help you tear up your old dangerous routine and write a new personalized walking prescription. To guide us on this critical journey, it is my deepest honor to welcome a man who understands the subtle language of the body better than anyone I know, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. You described a danger with necessary urgency. A stroke does not begin when the body falls. It begins when we stop listening. For months, sometimes years, the body whispers its needs for water, for rest, for a different rhythm. If we ignore the whispers, it is left with no choice but to scream. This prescription we will write today is simply the art of learning to listen to the whispers again.
A powerful way to begin. And to everyone watching, we want to know that you're with us on this journey. Please type the number 1 in the comments below and let us know what city or state you're listening from. It's wonderful to see how far our community reaches, and if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe so you never miss these vital health discussions. Now, Dr. Hinohara, every good prescription must start with the absolute fundamentals. What is the first most critical chapter in writing our walking prescription?
The first chapter of our prescription, Dr. Carter, concerns the engine of the body. Before you even consider the road ahead, you must ensure your engine is properly fueled and cooled. The two most common and dangerous errors I see are fundamental misunderstandings of water and food. The first is starting your journey on an empty tank of water. I once cared for a patient, a retired mailman in his late 70s. He was a man forged from discipline, immensely proud of his lifelong stamina. For over 40 years, he walked miles every single day. In his retirement, he continued these long walks, but he saw carrying a water bottle as a sign of frailty. He would often say, "Thirst is just a feeling you push through it." One afternoon after a long walk on a particularly dry, windy day, he felt an unusual wave of fatigue, and his hand trembled for a moment. He dismissed it. That night, his wife found him struggling to speak. He had suffered a transient ischemic attack, a TIA. His body was not weak. It was desperately trying to send a message, and the only way it could get his attention was to send a desperate silent signal to his brain.
That story is chilling because it perfectly illustrates a critical scientific point most people miss. When we talk about dehydration, we're not just talking about the sensation of thirst. We're talking about the physical composition of your blood. A key measurement we look at is called the hematocrit. It's the percentage of your blood that is made up of red blood cells. When you're dehydrated, you lose the watery plasma in your blood, but the number of red cells remains the same. This means your hematocrit value goes up. In plain English, your blood literally becomes thicker, more concentrated, more viscous. It's the difference between trying to pump water through your arteries versus trying to pump syrup. This sludge-like blood forces your heart to work overtime and dramatically increases the chances of platelets sticking together to form a deadly clot. For that retired mailman, his pride was unknowingly thickening his blood with every step, creating the perfect condition for a clot to form and travel to his brain. The prescription here is non-negotiable. Drink a full 8-ounce glass of room temperature water before you walk and another 8-ounce glass after you return. This isn't about feelings, it's about physics.
Exactly. Physics. And the second error in fueling the engine is one of timing. It is the mistake of asking your body to fight a war on two fronts, asking it to power a long walk, while it is already in the midst of digesting a heavy meal. I had another patient, a lovely woman in her early 80s who adored cooking. Her evening meal was the highlight of her day, rich, hearty, and made with love. To avoid feeling heavy before bed, she had a strict rule, a brisk 30-minute walk, immediately after cleaning the dishes. She often felt a bit dizzy on her route, a little lightheaded, but she always assumed it was just the food settling. She did not realize this dizziness was her brain telling her it was being starved of blood. It was a gentle warning before a potential scream.
And her experience is a textbook example of a phenomenon we call postprandial hyperemia. It's a fancy term for a simple reality. After a large meal, your body intelligently diverts a massive amount of blood flow to your stomach and intestines to break down and absorb the food. But if you immediately start a brisk walk, your large leg muscles are also screaming for blood and oxygen. Your body is forced into a competition it cannot win. Where does it pull the resources from? Very often, your brain becomes the silent donor. The blood flow to your brain can temporarily decrease, causing that exact lightheadedness and disorientation she felt. In that moment of reduced cerebral blood flow, your vulnerability to a stroke is magnified. The prescription is about timing and respect for your body's processes. You must wait at least 90 minutes after a heavy meal before engaging in a brisk walk. Let your body win the war of digestion first before you ask it to march. A gentle stroll is one thing. A demanding walk is another entirely. So we've established that the foundation of our walking prescription begins inside our body with proper hydration and timing. Now, Dr. Hinohara, let's move to the second chapter. Once the engine is prepared, we must account for the weather of our walk. This is about managing the external environment. What is the first hazard we need to address here?
It is the sun. We have a deep, primal connection to it. It gives warmth. It gives life. It lifts our spirits. But for aging skin, and more importantly, aging blood vessels, the sun can be a silent stressor. So many of my patients view sun protection as a simple matter of vanity, something to prevent wrinkles. They do not understand that it is a profound matter of brain health. I think of a gentleman who retired to a sunny, dry state, a place where the sky was almost always blue. He treasured his long afternoon walks, feeling the sun on his arms and face. He told me it made him feel alive and young. But over a year, his blood pressure began to fluctuate unpredictably. He felt a deep, nagging fatigue that sleep couldn't fix. He, of course, blamed it on getting older. He did not know that he was ignoring a warning written clearly in the sky.
That is a life-saving distinction to make. That unexplained fatigue and fluctuating blood pressure are classic signs of systemic inflammation, and UV radiation from the sun is a major trigger. Here's what's happening on the inside. Your blood vessels are lined with a delicate single-cell layer called the endothelium. When it's constantly bombarded by UV rays, this lining becomes irritated and inflamed. In response to this inflammation, your liver produces a specific protein that we can measure in your blood. It's called C-reactive protein, or CRP. The simplest way to think of CRP is as your body's internal fire alarm. When that number is high, it means there's a fire somewhere in your system. Chronic unprotected sun exposure is like pulling that fire alarm every single day. It makes your arteries stiffer and stickier, creating a perfect environment for a clot to form. The prescription is simple and essential. Wear a wide-brimmed hat that shades your face and neck. Use UV protection sunglasses that wrap around the sides. And whenever possible, walk in the gentler light of the early morning or late afternoon, avoiding the intense peak hours, typically between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. This isn't about vanity, it is non-negotiable vascular protection.
And just as we must be aware of the sun above us, we must be aware of the path around us. The second environmental mistake is one of the most tragic. It is the habit of confusing peaceful solitude with dangerous silence. It is the choice to always walk completely alone. I remember a fiercely independent man, a widower for over a decade, who cherished his solo morning walks. It was his private time to process his thoughts and feel close to his late wife. One morning, on a quiet street, he felt his words become jumbled as he tried to greet a neighbor. His right leg suddenly felt heavy, disobedient. But he was alone with his pride. He sat on a bench for a few minutes, the feeling passed, and he went home telling no one. He dismissed a desperate fire alarm as a faulty sensor.
That story highlights the most critical element in all of stroke medicine time. We have incredible clot-busting medications like TPA that can actually reverse an ischemic stroke, but they are miracles with a deadline. They must be administered within a very narrow window, usually 3 to 4.5 hours from the very first symptom. If you are alone when those symptoms occur, like that independent man, that precious window of time is closing while you sit on a bench, while you walk home, while you decide to wait and see. This is why we teach every single person the acronym F.A.S.T. It's a tool that can save a life. F is for face. Ask the person to smile. Does one side of their face droop? A is for arms. Ask them to raise both arms. Does one arm drift downward? S is for speech. Ask them to repeat a simple sentence. Is their speech slurred or strange? And T is for time. If you see any of these signs, it is time to call 911 immediately. Walking with a friend and neighbor, or simply carrying a phone and letting someone know your route isn't a sign of weakness. It's an insurance policy. It's giving your brain and your future a fighting chance.
We have prepared the engine and checked the weather. Now, Dr. Carter, we arrive at the final chapter of our walking prescription. This chapter is about the machine itself, the mechanics of the body, the chassis. It is about how you move, and the most common yet most overlooked mechanical flaw I see is in our posture. I see people in the park every day walking while looking intently at their feet. They are so afraid of a misstep, so fearful of a fall, that they adopt a posture of fear. Your posture is the signature of your spirit. It should be one of confidence and awareness, not one of defeat. I once had a patient, a graceful woman, who after a small stumble became terrified of falling again. Her walks, once a source of joy, became a cautious shuffle. Her head was always bent down, her eyes scanning the pavement. She believed she was protecting herself, but she was unknowingly choking the very vessels that supplied life to her brain.
What Dr. Hinohara describes is a tragic irony, and the anatomy behind it is incredibly clear. You have two main pairs of arteries that deliver all the blood to your brain, the large carotid arteries in the front of your neck, and the smaller vertebral arteries that run up through the bones of your spine in the back. When you adopt that chronic forward head posture, looking down at the ground, you can physically compress and kink those vertebral arteries. Imagine a garden hose Even a small kink can drastically reduce the flow. In older arteries that may already have some stiffness or plaque, this postural compression can be the tipping point. It reduces blood flow and creates turbulence, which encourages clots to form right at the base of the skull. And crucially, these vertebral arteries supply blood to the cerebellum, the very part of your brain that controls your balance and coordination. So the posture you adopt to prevent a fall could be the very thing that causes one. The prescription is to walk tall. Imagine a string pulling the crown of your head gently toward the sky. Walk with your chest leading you and your eyes looking forward toward the horizon. Your body knows how to walk. You simply need to trust it again.
And the final mechanical mistake, Dr. Carter, is driven by the ego. It is the vanity of speed. It is the attempt to walk with the intensity of a 30-year-old in the body of a 70-year-old. The purpose of a walk is not to win a race against time, but to sustain a beautiful rhythm with time. A patient of mine, a wonderful man, was on a walk with his athletic grandson. Wanting to show he could still keep up, he pushed himself, power walking much faster than his usual pace. He became breathless and felt a tightness in his chest. He was embarrassed, dismissing it as just being out of shape. He did not realize his body was not out of shape. It was in a state of alarm.
That state of alarm is incredibly dangerous. A sudden burst of intense explosive exertion on arteries that have aged and become less flexible is like violently snapping a cold, brittle rubber band. If there is any unstable plaque on the artery walls, that sudden surge in pressure and heart rate can cause it to rupture, forming a clot that can lead to a heart attack or travel to the brain, causing a stroke. So how do you know if you're pushing too hard? The prescription is a beautifully simple tool called the talk test. It's the most effective heart rate monitor you'll ever own, and it's free. The rule is this: if you are walking at an intensity where you can still hold a conversation and speak in full sentences, you are in the safe and highly effective zone. If you become so breathless that you can't speak comfortably, you are pushing your system too hard. It's time to slow down. Gentle, consistent movement is what heals. Sudden, violent effort is what harms. So today we have written a new prescription together, a prescription that reclaims walking as one of the most powerful tools for your health. We learned that it's not just that you walk, but how you walk that truly matters. By properly fueling your body's engine with water and timed meals, managing your environment with sun protection and a safety plan, and respecting your body's mechanics with proper posture and intensity, you are doing more than just moving. You are actively engaging in stroke prevention. This personalized approach to walking for seniors is fundamental to protecting your brain health. By understanding these principles, you are learning to recognize the conditions that lead to dangerous clots long before you see any blood clot signs. This is the very essence of true healthy aging.
Yes. Do not think of these as a list of rules you must fear breaking. Think of them instead as small but profound acts of kindness you show your body. Your daily walk should not be a task or a chore or a race. It is a celebration. It is a moving meditation on the magnificent life you have lived and the precious life you still have to live. Grant it the respect and the wisdom it deserves. You are not just walking a path on the ground, you are cultivating the path of your own longevity with every single step.
Beautifully said, Dr. Hinohara. Thank you for your incredible wisdom today. And to our entire Healthier Daily community, thank you for joining us. If you found this conversation valuable and believe it could help someone you care about, please like this video and share it with them. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel for more insights that blend science and wisdom. And finally, for our community, our most important question: based on your new walking prescription, what is the one small, simple adjustment you will make on your very next walk? Share your commitment with us in the comments below. Turning intention into a public promise is a powerful first step. Before we go, please remember, the information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. I'm Dr. Ben Carter. Be well, and we'll see you next time.